back to Fire Princess Reviews. I'm Fire Princess Lily here to tell you about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd things. So, it's Tuesday, Who Day, the day where we discuss the latest episode of Doctor Who, what I liked about it, the episode itself, lots of spoilers, but hey, it's all good and fun. Now, of course, if you haven't watched the latest episode of Doctor Who, maybe you're just saving it to binge watch every single episode, and by all means, do whatever you're going to do. But, of course, if you haven't watched the latest episode, there's going to be a ton of spoilers in this episode right here, because we discussed the whole thing. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, run along, come back, watch the video after you've watched the current episode. If you just kind of want to get down to the brass tacks of what the episode was about, see if you want to watch it or not and want my opinions, boom, right here. Keep watching the video. Or if you've already watched the episode and just are here for my take, as you might usually be, these videos get between anywhere from 20 to 5 views. So, I'm not sure who the audience is for these, but I like making them, so here we are. As usual, I've got a big list of notes, gonna keep us going, or at least so keep me on task when talking about this episode. Let's get into it. Spoiler warning already happened, here we go. So, we open up with the TARDIS team staring out over a fjord. We know it's a fjord because they're talking about is it a fjord or not, and the Doctor's eating dirt to figure out exactly where they are, because it's a very Doctor thing to do. She tells them that they're in Norway, and then a sheep appears, and she points to Sonic at the sheep, because apparently, in 139 years, there's the Woolly Uprising, or the Woolly Revolution, where the sheep rise up against us, and we have to basically take control. We have to come to some kind of an agreement. Lots of bloodshed, but it's only 2018, so not the Woolly Revolution. The Doctor eats more dirt so she can find out exactly where they are. Tells them about a town that's nearby with a cozy little shop that has a good Yelp review. Something close to that. But they spot a cottage. A cottage at a cold fjord with a chimney with no smoke. Looks suspicious, so they go to investigate. As they walk up to the cottage, they notice it's all boarded up. They make a good note that it seems like it's trying to keep something in rather than out. It's very creepy looking. Ryan notices some movement in, a window, and the Doctor's off to investigate. Everybody follows behind. She gets to the door. Sonic's opened 3 locks, and they get to investigating the very creepy house. It's dark, there's dust, lots of kid shoes, which is weird. It's weird, right? To have a bunch of kid shoes. Unless, while Graham and Ryan go upstairs to investigate, while the Doctor and he has to stay downstairs to also investigate, Graham and Ryan run across a noise in a wardrobe. Open the wardrobe, and what do they discover? A child. So I guess, not so weird, but it's a child alone in the woods, in a boarded up house. The child doesn't want to come out of the wardrobe. We find out her name is Hannah, is obviously scared, and Graham basically like, hey, you hungry? I always have a sandwich on me. Which he's like, hey, I never know what we're going to eat in this cruise, so it's good to just have sandwiches on me because I get low blood sugar. Good thinking, Graham. I like you. You're a good guy. So, they ask Hannah what she's doing there alone. She's like, well, it's me and my dad here. We moved here from Oslo after my mother died. I miss her a lot. Dad misses her more. Yada, 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 yada. And he told me to stay inside the house because there's a monster and he doesn't want it to get me. And so they go outside anyway. Turns out Hannah is blind. I think I mentioned that. But, yeah. So as she's explaining her story, Graham's like, have you ever thought that maybe he just left you? He wasn't taken by anything. And which is a terrible suggestion to make to a scared child, of course. And everybody tells him that, no, She's like, no, my dad would never leave me. And then her watch starts beeping. And she's like, oh no, we gotta go back inside. This is when it hunts. It's the thing. Yep, and so she runs back inside. Team TARDIS is kind of gathered, like, because decide what to do. Yaz and the Doctor are going to talk with Hannah. No, I'm sorry. Graham and the Doctor are going to talk with Hannah. Yaz and Ryan are going to go into the tool shed, the barn, whatever it is, and look for clues. While they're deciding this, Ryan's like, "You don't believe her, right? Monsters, that's dumb. Father probably left her, because he's got a chip on his shoulder a mile wide." So, the Doctor and Graham are talking to Hannah. They're like, your house is all boarded up. What's up with that? She explains that her dad put up all the barricades, like, the day before he disappeared. And then we go back to Ryan and Yaz, and they're looking around the tool shed. There's dead birds, which is very freaky to Ryan. But even freakier are all the animal traps. Just as they discover all the animal traps, a spooky roar comes out of the woods. It's loud, scary. Ryan and Yaz run back to the house. Of course, the Doctor and Graham also hear the noise inside the house. Hannah is now under the table, freaked out of her mind. The Doctor has Graham run upstairs to look out the window to see if he can see what it is. So, yep. Graham can't see the thing. So the roaring eventually quiets down, and so he turns around and he spots a mirror that was there before, but now it's not reflecting him, and it's very weird, very spooky. Ryan comes up. He also investigates the mirror with Graham, and Graham almost gets pulled in to the mirror. Yep, it's a portal of some kind. The Doctor comes up, breaks the portal's wavelength, so it can't steal anybody, and then, but not before she sticks her head in to find out of what exactly where the portal leads. Hannah comes up along with Yaz, and she's like, "What is it? What's going on?" She's like, "There's a weird portal here." And so the Doctor says, a monster outside, a portal inside, something weird is going on. Now, at this point in the episode, I thought, oh, well, the monster must have come from the portal into the world, and it's trying to get back in. That makes sense. And her dad is just on the other side of the portal, lost. Total classic Who sort of scenario. It's not the scenario exactly. Yep. So the Doctor says that she's going to go investigate, go look for Hannah's dad. Or at least whatever is causing this portal, be it alien or whatever. Everybody, including Hannah, wants to go with the Doctor. The Doctor says to Hannah, "Can't take you with, can't put you in that kind of danger, you're just a kid." Blah, blah, but Ryan's going to stay with you. Ryan doesn't want to stay with her. She doesn't want Ryan to stay with her. She doesn't like Ryan. He doesn't like her. Go figure. And the Doctor starts writing on the wall. Now, as she's writing, she explains very loudly that it's a map of the house and its weakest structural points, and they are to defend that from the monster while everybody else is inside the portal. It's actually a super gloomy message that says, we're going to assume her father is dead, try to keep her calm and safe, and figure out who can help her in the event that her father is dead. Super gloomy. And then they go to the portal. So they're wandering through this really dark, area. It's, rocky and dark, and there's, nobody around. And they come across a alien-looking guy. Who knows? His name is Ribbons of the Seventh Stomach. Which makes me feel like, as we're getting into this, that maybe the portal is actually inside of the monster somehow. And they're basically asking Ribbons, have you seen a human, male, guy? Can you point us in his direction? And Ribbons is like, eat shit. More or less. Unless you give me your cylinder. Which is, of course, the Doctor is Sonic. And, because Ribbons eventually is like, oh yeah, I did see a human, but it costs information. Information costs. Give me your cylinder. They strike a deal for a lantern and the information. They have to be led by Ribbons to wherever he saw Hannah's dad, and then she will give up her Sonic because the Doctor believes in saving people. She also makes him leave behind his knife because he threatens Graham's life with his knife. Yep. Cut back to Hannah and Ryan. They are not chums. Not chums at all. She doesn't like him because, of course, he suggested that her father left her. Like, what the fuck is up with that? Not good. She asked about, what the doctor actually put on the wall. Because it sounded like writing, not drawing. And Ryan, not good on his feet. He's like, she said the observatory is the weakest point. House doesn't have an observatory. He's like, oh, the porch. Yeah, so he basically picks up Hannah, takes her out of the room, and locks the door. Basically manhandling her. It's not cool, but he's trying to protect her, so she's not pleased. We cut back to Doctor and the gang. They're with Ribbons and a flesh moth. It's called the flesh moth. It's a big moth, lands on their lantern, and basically Ribbons throws a dead rat to go distract it so they can get away, because apparently the moth will rip off all your flesh. It's like piranhas, but moths. And that is like, look, Doctor Who has a weird way of making you scared of like the most mundane shit. A moth is kind of already freaky to a lot of people. I like moths. But making flesh-eating giant pretty moths, not cool. Don't like that at all. So, yeah. Ribbons is like, alright, I'm going to pick up this rat and shoo away this moth. You all go on ahead. And then he cuts their line because he's a dick. Because betrayal. It's a new thing. So Ryan hears the monster again, and he's like, that's got to be something. I can't see it. I'm going to go see whatever it is. I'm going to step outside and take care of it. And instead, as he's searching for it, he finds a speaker making the noise. Turns out there is no monster. It's a lie. It's just a speaker. Ryan's coming back inside the speaker because he's going to show Hannah that it's not a monster, it's a speaker, because she deserves to know the truth. Like, he's trying his best. And Hannah uses a door to knock his ass out because she's resourceful. So as the Doctor and crew are walking with Ribbons, he reveals to them that they're inside an anti-zone, which the Doctor explains is a place between parallel worlds where the fabric is weakest and it's trying to protect our universe from something dangerous, which means that there's something dangerous about the entire thing. And then Ribbons double crosses them again using his second knife. Doctor's like, oh, of course you have a second knife. Pram's got a knife to his throat, and basically they lose the lantern, and so they're being really still because the moths are just gathering up. Ribbons makes a dash for the dropped sonic screwdriver at this point, and the moths gang up on his dumbass and eat him. Doctor and the crew run away, and they jump out a portal. Is it the same portal? It isn't! It's like the other side of the mirror. Everything is kind of turned around. Meanwhile, while that happens, Hannah walks into the anti-zone. That's good, right? Of course. Doctor and gang find her father, Eric. He is just chilling out, making a meal. And he's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing in my house? She's like, what are you doing in your house? The Doctor, I should say. And he's like, look, just go back. Tell Hannah I'm fine. I'll be back in a little, in a couple of days. It'll be okay. I know I've already been gone a long time, but there's plenty of food in the fridge. And then the Doctor's like, well, who are you making food for? He's like, what do you mean? Just me. He's like, 2 plates. And it turns out that not only is Eric alive, but her dead mother is also alive. Name's Trina. It's really weird. Dead but not dead is what my note says. And the Doctor's like, well, it's time to go. And Trina stops him and says, well, don't you want to say hello to your friend? They're like, friend? She's like, yeah, she came, just as you arrived. And that, I was like, oh, who the fuck could it be? You know, I've got a lot of theories in my head at this point. You know, maybe it's another Cyberman thing, like we saw with Capaldi. Also from Capaldi, that weird, like, mausoleum of the dead thing that travels through time, remembering dead people. Like, is that where they're at? I don't know. So, we go to look to see who the friend is. I'm really hoping it's not Missy, and it's not Missy. It is Grace, Ryan's nan, Graham's wife, and nobody knows how she could possibly be alive. So, we cut back to Hannah walking through the anti-zone, and Ryan finds her, and he basically tells her the truth, like the whole thing. She's like, look, the monster was a speaker. The doctor thinks maybe your dad's dead, but possibly not, you know, because portal, and, yeah. Of course, they also have to hide from the moss. Graham and Grace have a talk. He's like, you can't be real. My wife's dead. This isn't cool. I don't like this. And he's like, if you're really Grace, tell me all about this frog necklace. And she does, and she tells him everything. And so he tells her about their adventures, like how he's been on an alien world, how he met Rosa Parks, and like everything is basically like, it seems like Grace, and he is super fucking happy. Now, the doctor can't figure out what's going on with this world because Grace can't be alive. Hannah's mom can't be alive, but here they are. What is this? There's the anti-zone, which is supposed to keep out bad forces from our universe. So this place must be a bad place. But what has the power to make an entire mirror dimension? And then she remembers a story that her own grandmother, Granny Number 5, probably had an actual name, told about, called the Solotrack. How it's basically a dimension sort of like our own, but it can't interact with our own dimension. It had to be banished for the universe to work. And of course, the Solotrack wants to be a part of our universe because it's lonely. And that must be what this is. So she's like, okay, it is just time to fucking go. Let's go. Come on, Graham. Come on, Eric. We're getting out of here. And she can't force the door. She can't. Like, the portal is, like, closed because the Solotrack is basically an intelligent universe, and it's keeping her there. Hannah and Ryan are ready for the flesh moss. Just as the doctor gets an idea from Yas to reverse the polarity of whatever she was doing before to open the portal, and it works. And Hannah busts through because Ryan says, "Go on, the portal's over there. Go to it. I'll hold off the moss." And so Hannah breaks through. Then the Solotrack universe starts breaking down because maybe it could handle having just Eric there, but it can't handle 5 beings from a universe that it doesn't mix well with being in it. And Hannah's like, this is not my mom. I don't know who you are. My mom's dead. And basically gets forced out of the Solotrack's universe by the thing looking like her mother, the Solotrack's version of her mother. Yaz also insults Solotrack's Grace. She's like, Grace is like the dynamite, most boss-ass fucking woman, and you're not her. Boom! Forced out. Alright. Cool. No, I'm sorry. Yaz got thrown out first. Hannah gets thrown out second. And basically, the doctor is basically pleading with Graham at this point. She's like, we gotta go. This universe is breaking down. I can't continue. I can't open the door again. There's only one way to get out here is to reject the image of Grace. You have to reject this because it's not Grace. And he's like, I know it's not Grace, but I can't. She's my wife. And I can't leave her again. And they know that Ryan's in danger, and basically Solotrack's Grace is like, no, you're right. You got to stay. And, you gotta be here with me, don't leave me again. And Grandma's like, well, what about Ryan? Ryan's in danger. She's like, oh, he's a smart boy, he'll be fine. And he's like, damn, damn, you really aren't her, because Grace would never let me leave Ryan in danger. You can't be my wife, and he gets thrown out. So, good going, Graham. Got out of there. So, the doctor's like, come on, Eric, your turn. Your wife, it's not your wife, obviously. You've got to reject this. You've got to go, because it's breaking down. This world is breaking down, and we're all going to die. And he's like, I can't. It's my wife. I mean, here I am being like this, but you know, if I were in their shoes and if it was my wife, like, I love my wife so much, you know, you have no idea. I probably would fucking not be able to do it either. So the doctor pleads with the Solatrax universe. He's like, you don't want a husband. You want a whole universe, so take me. I've lived so long. I've loved so much. I've lost so much. I have stories for days. Like, you know, I'm a better choice. I'm a better candidate. Keep me. Reject him. Send him away. Like, you know, keep me, because this is what you want. You want somebody who can tell you the story of the universe. And Eric's like, wait, you're right, she's not my wife. And boom, he gets thrown out. It's a little, like, sudden changey on his part, but whatever, we'll take it. So then the doctor's trying to buy a white light. She doesn't know what's going on, and she walks towards, like, where it's brightest, and finds a frog sitting on the chair. The frog is actually the Solatrax universe, and explains, well, I like frogs, just as Grace once liked frogs. Now tell me about your world. The doctor's like, oh man, how can I, you think words can describe the universe? It's so big and wonderful, and there's just no possible way that I could ever, like, put it together, like, in simple terms. And then she starts vibrating, and she's like, your world is still breaking down. I can't be here. We're going to both die. You got to send me away. And the Solatrax is like, no, you just want to leave. She's like, look, we're friends now. I don't want you to die because of me, and I obviously don't want to die, so I will always be your friend. I will always think about you. You know, I will love you forever. You're my friend. And so she gets to go home, more or less. And the Solatrax says that it will always dream of the doctor, which is really cool. So everybody's in the anti-zone, and they're trying to run for their lives to the other portal. The doctor barely makes it through. Everybody's safe. Hooray! I really thought we were going to lose Graham this episode. Like, I was for sure certain that was going to happen. So we get to the end portion, like the breakdown. Hannah and her dad are going to go back to Oslo, be a family there, live their lives. Hannah and Ryan are friends. They have a hug, and Ryan calls Graham Granddad. Like, victory for Graham. He's still gonna. I mean, that fist bump's gonna happen, but this was even better. So good. And so that's the episode. My thoughts on the episode. Interesting creature, the Solatrax. Like, every time I thought I had the episode figured out, it was a new twist, a new turn, and I really enjoyed that. The only thing about it that I found weak was Eric's sudden change of heart, but they had to get to the end of the episode somehow, and that's the way they chose to do it. Definitely an emotional episode, bringing Grace back in any form to mess with the TARDIS, Team TARDIS in general. That was solid, absolutely. I really hope Graham gets that chip, not Graham, Ryan gets that chip on his shoulder fixed about his dad. Whether that's just straight up being like, I reject my father and everything he ever did to me or didn't do for me, because I'm my own person. I had a great grandmother and I have a great granddad, and that's all I ever needed was their love and support. And I hope that's, you know, where he gets to. We will see. So, that's the episode this week. Boom! Right, you just went through like 20 minutes of shit to get to that. What a letdown. I know. But tomorrow we're talking about that time I got resurrected as a slime. And I gotta tell you, it's a good episode. Can't wait to talk about it. But until then, I'm Fire Princess Lily. Love comics, love cartoons. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!